The best of the morning to you. This is Monday with Friday, preparing you for a better week ahead. Yesterday was recognized and celebrated in several parts of the world as Mother's Day. Yet today, for too many people in too many parts of the world, the recognition of mother is over and done with. Now, don't get me wrong, singling out days for special recognition of people is helpful, the operative word being special. But if someone is really special, we shall not await one day annually to recognize that person. Now, this is the subliminal enticement and fault of these annual special days, and while on the one hand it will take effort to break out of noticing and celebrating people only once annually, there shall be no effort needed if the person is truly special. I lost my mother 18 years, 11 months, and 19 days ago. I don't remember her daily anymore, but not 1 week passes by without her entering my memory. And while I certainly never forget her on Mother's Day, her birthday, her wedding anniversary with my father, and the date of her passing, I remember her in so many other ways. I lost my father before I was 25 years old, and I had barely exited my 30s when I lost my mother. So consequently, I'm still a bit jealous of folks who lose their parents in their 50s and 60s. I always tell such friends that even though they now grieve, what a blessing it was to have their parents so deep into their adulthood. My mother never possessed material riches or privilege her whole life. After marrying my father, she always worked at home. Even though we were dirt poor, she could always find us something to eat. The incredibly small yard of rented land where I grew up in a simple 2-bedroom wooden house with no plumbing or running water, with 4 siblings, was more incredibly planted up with about a dozen types of fruit trees, as well as corn, peas, cassava, yams, and other various kinds of ground provisions. My mother reared chickens for eggs and or Sunday dinners. She washed our clothes with her bare hands in a wash tub with a washing board. Even though her fingers were demolished by whitlow, a severe condition from the constant water and harsh detergents, for you see she was too poor to even buy rubber gloves. She soldiered on with ironing, cooking, cleaning, sewing, baking and icing and decorating the occasional wedding cake for some village client. She was skilled in that area. My mother loved a hearty laugh, and she ministered to her own soul by often singing while she worked. She sang hymns, for she was a woman of faith, a faith incubated in deep hardship. She wanted to be a teacher, but being the eldest of her siblings and living with a single mother who worked in the sugarcane fields, she was required to discontinue school to help care for a couple of her baby brothers, even while she herself was still a mere girl. From her broad vocabulary, elegant writing style, both in handwriting and content, she would have made an excellent teacher. She turned out, however, to be an invaluable mentor. Over her life in 2 congregations that I remember her being a member in, she was respected, faithful, and loved. I remember her kneeling with me beside my bed, praying with me the night before a major exam at age 10. I remember her washing my only shirt or pants that I wore to school on Friday, only to wear them to church on Sunday. I remember her very hearty laugh when, as an adult, I told her that there was one spanking she gave me which I did not deserve, when a naked-necked chicken my godmother gifted me died under one of our coconut trees mysteriously. I don't know what killed that chicken, but my mother thinks I did. For at the time, you see, everybody else, I being the last of her children, were already gone to school and I was still at home. Now, Bill Cosby did say something that says, if you want to know which kid did it, have only one kid. But there are exceptions to that rule, and my dear lovely mother broke that rule. She never apologized for that spanking. Maybe she thought that there were several other times she spared me the rod and owed me that spanking. My mother lived materially poor and died materially poor. But that's the extent of her poverty. Otherwise, she lived a rich life of faith, of deep commitment to her family, her children, her church, and her Lord, despite many pains and scars she carried through her life. Mother's Day might be for all mothers, but every other day is for my mother. So rest well, Clara. You did good. You did really very good. I'm Michael Friday, and your week just got better. I'll see you again next week. Happy Monday, all the way to Friday.